What's up, Big Steve?
Shout out Michael Bisping, UFC Vegas 111. We're betting on this card top to bottom. 5+ bets already, so I'll give them out. I'll break down the whole card. We'll keep it a nice quick one. Last week we did well, and I feel good about this one. It was a decent week outside of the fact that Pinnacle voided my Del Valle unders. So very scummy behavior from Pinnacle. So in the future, if you are using a book, for like a fix or anything, my other book honored it. This one didn't. So, but it just motivated me to do even better. All right. So we're in a business of not crying here, and we're just going to punish the bookies this week, including Pinnacle. All right. So let's get into it, shall we? Nice and quick one today because I have a meeting in half an hour. Lou Betcher, one of the legends. I'm here for the minimum 5 bets. Mate, I actually have 6. I made a mistake, but I'll have even more. MMA guy, LFG, newest member of the Discord. Let's go. Lou Betcher, need the locks. Well, you're in the right place, my man. All I ever do is give out locks. Alrighty. Let's get into it. First fight of the night, Jackson McVey, Zachary Reese, short notice fight. I didn't want to overthink this one. I basically said to myself, if the under 1.5 rounds is -200 or better or around there, I was going to play it. So I played 1 unit. I wasn't so confident in the original matchup because I didn't really trust Valentin, to finish Jackson McVey, and I didn't really think Valentin was overly chinny or easy to submit. But Zachary Reese, I think he's a lot more dangerous than Valentin. He's bigger. He can match the size of Jackson McVey. He's got more power than Valentin, and he's got really, really aggressive style and jiu-jitsu, as well as being, quite chinny in my opinion. Got knocked out by a Brundage Slam. Got knocked out by Azamat Bokayev's ground and pound. So I've even seen him hurt by Dushko and Jose Medina. So I'm not overthinking this one. Under 1.5 rounds, $600, -200. Easy peasy. Don't care who wins. Hopefully it's Zachary Reese. Hopefully it's Jackson McVey, just for the scenes. Alrighty. Miles Jones, Daniel Marcos. This one, I'll be honest, I'm not really interested from a betting perspective. It doesn't really excite me to tape it, so I didn't want to waste my time and tape it. So, Daniel Marcos should be the favorite. He's 17-1. He's got some decent wins, but a lot of them are split decisions. He gasses badly in round 3, and Miles Jones always overperforms. A good opponent in Jin Matsumoto, an even better opponent in Felipe Lima, and he had those fights very competitive. And he was 30-27 Douglas De Silva de Andrade. He 30-27, 29-28 Cody Gibson. So he's a good fighter. This is, in my opinion, this should be more competitive than the line indicates. But I don't want to dig deep. If anything, I'll just look to live bet it, see how Daniel Marcos' cardio is looking. We'll move on. Speaking of fights I didn't want to get involved in, Tecia Torres versus Denise Gomes. So I thought previously on the early tees, and the early tees, by the way, I should say, I've had like 2-3 negative comments, and I don't have any negative people, even with almost 1,000 subscribers. So maybe I'm doing something right finally. And they're just complaining about my lack of enthusiasm and picking a side. And it's like, mate, it's Monday. It's the day after the fights. The early tease means early look with minimum tape. What am I going to be confident in? I haven't locked anything in. I haven't taped anything. So chill out. Right. Anyway, back to this. On the early tees, I thought dog or pass, right? Denise Gomes at chalk, not really trustworthy. Last time she lost to Angela Hill. But in that fight, Angela Hill could match her physicality. It was 2 years ago. She was still doing well in her prime. She kept taking Denise Gomes down. Tecia Pennington is small. She's 36. She's coming off pregnancy. I had 3 units on her versus Carla Esparza, and I was sweating that. A retiring post-pregnancy Carla Esparza. She can be taken down, and just her style. Like, I love her speed and, combinations. She will be faster than Denise Gomes. But my issue is, just how she strikes. She blitzes, and, she almost lost to Luana Pinheiro, who she didn't get dropped. She slipped, but it looked like she got dropped in the round 1 just because she walks into things. And even though Denise Gomes is slower and a plotter, I think she could potentially counter her. She actually countered Elise Reed twice in the last fight. So she's showing that she can also, pull back, counter, not just pressure mindlessly. And, because of the age, she's 25, she's improving. 2 years ago when she lost, she was 23. So what I ended up playing here was Gomez KO no scorecards at almost pick'em. So that's basically Gomez no scorecards, but it's only for the KO, very specific. I bet that on Neds. 600 to win like, I don't know, almost 5. But honestly, I would lay the chalk on Gomes no scorecard at $1.40, worse than minus 200, because yeah, this is like I give Tecia almost no finishing upside. Gomes is extremely durable, and yeah, and Pennington is just one of the worst finishers in the UFC. So it might push. Pennington has never been knocked out. I don't think Gomes is subbing her with a crappy ass guillotine. So yeah, if anyone's going to finish, it would be Gomes by KO. But yeah, I don't know. This line keeps on coming in. I might actually get on Gomes, but I've got that KO no scorecards and doing some potential live betting. All right, let's go through the comments. Big Steve Energy, let's go. Uncle Lou, let's go. Shady, I'll catch it later. I've got Auckland. No worries, Shady. Dixon Cider. I don't know if I want to read Dixon Cider's comment because it's going to be on 7 other podcasts, so maybe you can just read it there. Don't let them cavity search you, mate. I've had cavity searches before. They're not that bad. There's a bad rep about cavity searches, but I've had worse. Alrighty, Josh Hokit versus Max Gimenis. Right, this is both guys making their debut. Josh Hokit with a wrestling background, Max Gimenis, ADCC credentialed grappling background. Honestly, I sat down through Max Gimenis' tape on his Instagram. It took a while because it was recorded footage from the stands, and it started before when the last fight finished, so I had to wait for ages for the fight to start. It took a lot of patience. But basically, this one guy that he beat, Cameron Graham, Big Mac, let me just whip up what he looks like. Actually, I can't be bothered. He couldn't finish him. But that fight went to decision. And let me just show you. And the guy's 9-20. He has a lot of finishes on his record, and this guy couldn't finish him. He took him down in every round. And in round 2, he was so gassed, and he was on top of him in arm triangle choke. And he's just holding on. And the ref stood him up from mount arm triangle. Because they're like, you're not doing anything, dude. So basically, I don't think he's good at MMA. He's unathletic. He's got bad wrestling. He's got bad cardio. He's got bad striking. I don't see in a world in how he would possibly beat Josh Hokit. Obviously, Josh Hokit is a bit of a smaller heavyweight, 230 pounds, but super athletic, obviously elite wrestling, really good cardio. So a lot of these heavyweights, inexperienced heavyweights, can be overweight and like Max. But Josh actually has the cardio to wrestle for 3 rounds. So I parlayed Josh, with someone later on. I didn't think I would, but it just seems like such a squash match for him. And I played over half a round on one of these bookies, like Russian book that's dodgy as. It was set at 1.5 rounds, and I even contemplated playing over 1.5 rounds. I thought, a bit of wrestling. He's not going to submit Max. A bit of top time. He needs a ground and pound finish. But then that bookie changed it to half a round. It was plus money. I went to bed, and then it was pick'em the next day. I was like, man, I'm getting in on this. I basically just need Max to not be taken down and pounded out in under 2.5 minutes. So, but ultimately, I feel like Josh Hokit by KO. I think maybe round 1, round 2, maybe round 3, when Max Gimenis is like constantly getting taken down and getting up, I think eventually he's going to get knocked out if he hasn't corrected his cardio. So that's the issue. And he was knocked out by David White, a 2-4 bum in under half a round. So yeah, Josh Hokit KO. The bookies are on it. It's minus money, but maybe play some Josh Hokit 1 takedown, then plus KO. Maybe starts round 2. Josh Hokit KO 2-3, but I have him in a parlay, and we'll see if I'll add anything else on. Alrighty. Bueno, Silva, Jacqueline, Cavalcanti. This is one of a couple of fights that I haven't really taped. I said originally dog or pass. I still agree. It's just, if she doesn't grapple, even if she strikes, it can be competitive because Cavalcanti's had 3 back-to-back striking fights against really low-level girls. Ferrazian, Nunes, Nora Cornell, and a retiring Julia Villa, and she still can't separate. So even then, Mayra Silva can potentially keep it competitive because she does hit very hard. But she has no defense. I just watched Jasmine Justavicius stick and move on her for 3 rounds, mixing takedowns, just cover her massive favorite line. So if Mayra Silva grapples, from memory, she grappled Raquel Pennington. She kept getting her back in the first 2 rounds, and she actually showed good takedown offense. If she does that here, she'll look good value. But I haven't taped it. I need to go in depth. So potentially some Mayra Silva no scorecards. I know I've been playing that a lot recently, these last 2 weeks, but man, last week, Waldo no scorecards plus money, Rowe no scorecards plus money. Like, a couple of them pushed, but, man, plus money on the guy on the fighter that's actually more likely to finish was insane. This one's probably going to be minus money. Let me just have a quick look. Mayra Bueno Silva, method of victory. Decision no bet. Wow, Mayra Bueno Silva, decision no bet is $1.80. That's interesting. This one's, I expected like minus 200. I don't think Silva's going to get finished. In my opinion, she has KO and submission upside. I've seen Jacqueline Cavalcanti hurt in the PFL by a striker. So that's where we're at. Alrighty. 2 more prelims. Ricky Simon versus Raoni Barcelos. I take this one, and I don't really want to get involved. Ricky Simon a chalk, never for me. I think he's got chin issues. It makes sense that he's the favorite because he's younger. He looks less washed. But Raoni Barcelos, he's still out there. He's still doing his thing. Really insane performance. I think he kind of caught Talbot off guard. But then you give him a wash, a Christian Quinones, he hurts his shoulder there. Has to come back. He's getting wobbled, and it's an absolute brawl of a fight. And you give him a completely washed Cody Garbrandt, and he loses round 1, and rounds 2 and 3 are competitive. It's a war. And he just edges it out over a washed, chinny Cody Garbrandt. So this guy's very, very inconsistent. He's getting lit up by Victor Henry. He's getting knocked out cold by Umar Magomedov. He's losing to Carla Phillips, who has no takedown defense, essentially. He could have just top-timed Carla Phillips. So inconsistent. And I don't think he's going to be getting any wrestling off on Ricky Simon. And Ricky Simon could hurt him. They could both hurt each other. If I had to play anything, I'll play the under at plus money. But I have a lot of bad experiences with Raoni Barcelos' unders. Like, Cody Garbrandt cost me, Peyton Talbot under cost me. I passed on the Christian Quinones under, and he got a submission. He's one of his only submissions in the UFC. What else? I'm pretty sure I played the Trevin Jones inside the distance. Yeah, there's this guy and his unders. No thanks. Alrighty, let's move on. One more fight on the prelims, and I'll go through the comments. Jamall Emmers, Hyder Amil. My mate told me that look into this under early in the week, and I had the 2.5 rounds of pick'em, and now it's minus 200. And I would honestly take that now, but I might just play round 1 KO, round 1, round 2 KO, small stake. I think if this extends, both guys gas. I think Hyder Amil slows down as well. I think most of Jamall Emmers' finishing upside is early, like when he's fresh and he's got that 1-2, and Hyder Amil is cold and he can be caught with a clean punch. I do think Hyder Amil is very durable and Jamall Emmers not so much, but I do think Jamall Emmers hits harder. He's killed some durable dudes with one punch. Dennis Bazookia. Well, I take that back. He hasn't really killed many durable dudes, but he's killed a lot of dudes. And he's hurt a bunch. He's hurt Nate Landwehr, couldn't get him out of there. Gabriel Miranda Ricciani, and couldn't get these other guys out. But he hurt Pat Sabatini as well. So, yeah. From a money line, it's a bit of a shit show. I think Jamall is very live early, so I don't want to play chalk on Hyder Amil. But I'll just watch this fight, maybe play some KO 1. Let's have a look what that KO round 1 is. Just any guy to win the KO round 1. Amil KO round 1 is $5. Jamall Emmers $7. Wow. Let me have a look. If I can't find it in a few seconds, I'm moving on. Fight to start round 2, plus 170. No. Wow, it's plus 170 for the fight to end in round 1. Why not? Under 2.5 rounds, yeah, it took massive action. That is now minus 200. Yeah, not really interested. I feel like there's some lock unders on this card, and this one is kind of like it might hit, it might not hit, and it will be tilting if it doesn't. So, no interest. Let's move on. On to the main card. Let's look at the comments, and we'll finish up. Icelandic Farts, you made it. Well done, mate. Sup, Glimbot. Thoughts on Hokit minus 3.5, 310 as a parlay piece instead of his money line? Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm not too sure with if it's not a decimal. That doesn't seem too much better than his money line. I would just keep it. If you're going to parlay, I would just parlay the money line. They're already chalky. Both of them are chalky as it is. Mayra Bueno Silva sub. Yeah, that could do. Could do. Fight doesn't go the distance. Possible. Ricky. Yeah, as I said, it's the under or nothing for me. Amil inside the distance plus 140. Emmers has quit in him. Yeah, I don't know. How many round 2-3 rounds does Hyder Amil has? I also thought he was like this guy that breaks people late, but it's usually round 1, round 2 against Fernie, Early round 2 against Chase Gibson, a little bit late round 2 against Robson Jr., round 2 against... He doesn't have one round 3 finish. And when he gets into round 3, he's extremely gassed himself because it's all systems go. So, yeah, maybe... Yeah, fight doesn't start round 3. Minus money. That's a bit ugly. Plus 170. Yeah, why not? Let's play that. Or even the under 1.5 rounds. Yeah. Alrighty. Marcos Tulio versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Look, I'm not really a fan of Christian Leroy Duncan, and I'm not really a fan of Marcos Tulio, but taping this one, I was like, man, I'm really interested in Christian Leroy Duncan. Like, his footwork is much better. He looks so nice on the eye, like faster, sharper. Marcos Tulio is clunky, and he spams like spinning back kicks. He spams this Superman punch from halfway through outside the octagon, and he just forces this wrestling, which is not the best, but he gets it done. It's basically like a clunky guy that has more fight in him and more grit, and that's how he wins most of his fights, versus a much nicer, more athletic fighter in Christian Leroy Duncan, but he just doesn't have that, that grit that Tulio has. But minus 200 on Marcos Tulio when his best win is Yazri Belgui from Contender Series. All right. Then after that, knocked out a bum, then knocked out a bum, then knocked out Io Pateria, who's a bum, and then knocked out Trash Angol, who is a bum. He doesn't have a good win. And he was knocked out before in his one loss by a Brazilian guy, Silva, who, that's fine, 7 out of his 8 wins are by knockout. But if he can do it, Christian Leroy Duncan can do it. So I don't mind Christian Leroy Duncan, but I also don't mind this over. This over at 2.5 rounds is calling my name. It's tempting, but it's sweaty. It's sweaty because Tulio very hittable, Christian Leroy Duncan hittable but incredibly durable. It kind of reminds me of that Arkic Morizakano over that I played over in round 1, and everyone was playing the over 1.5 rounds in the Billy Alicana fight, and I was also going to do it, but I had a bad feeling. It's just I have a bad feeling about this one. I have to sit through 2.5 rounds, of brawling, and as my boy MMA guy says, I can kind of see Christian Leroy Duncan landing something on him, like a spinning elbow or something brutal. So, yeah, dog or pass for me, or over or pass if I have to pick something. But yeah, the tape is like you should lock in CLD, even though you didn't like it pre-tape. It's standing out. So easy dog or pass for me. Speaking of dog or pass, Ismael Bonfin versus Chris Padilla. This is another dog or pass. Like Chris Padilla on a 3-fight winning streak. The bookies keep on disrespecting this man. He's a dog. He's got good takedowns, good cardio, good back control, good ground and pound. Even when someone was a better striker than him in Rongzhu, he still found a way to knock him out. And the last fight with Jay Herbert was probably the most underwhelming fight. I thought he would separate from him out of all people because Jai is, chinny and not as good as Rongzhu in my opinion. But yeah, it was a close fight. I think because Jai obviously has really good footwork and evasiveness and speed, but he still got it done. And Ismael Bonfin, man, wins over Terence McKinney, loses to Benoit Saint-Denis, loses to Nazim Salikhov. It just has a win over Vince Pichel and Terence McKinney. So I don't know why this guy's minus 200. Yeah, he'll be the cleaner striker, but so many guys are cleaner strikers than Chris Padilla. So Bonfin's going to stick and move. Padilla's going to do his thing. Maybe live bet is better. Maybe live bet after Bonfin lands some big overhand rights, but honestly, I need to do some more tape. MMA guy, I took the over Bonfim Padilla minus 125. Yeah, everyone is on that. I had that same price on the 1.5 rounds on that Russian bookie, and I hesitated, and now that's the 2.5. I should have taken it, but yeah, just not interested. Not interested but it's Chris Padilla. It's a basically pick him to go the distance, so Padilla 5-1 has to be off. Exactly. Muslim Salikhov, Uros Medic. Yeah, I gave this bet out on Twitter days ago. I have the under 1.5 rounds, almost $1.70. I don't know what that is. It's like 55%. And yeah, basically, I keep playing Uros's unders, and that's when he's the only one that has KO upside against Tim Means and, Gilbert Urbina. I thought so, but Gilbert Urbina dropped him as well. And now Muslim Salikhov has KO upside, and his chinny is 41 years of age. Chin's completely gone. Nicholas Darby hurt this guy. Randy Brown killed him with one punch. Kenan Song hurt him before getting knocked out, and it killed Carlos Leal, who, in my opinion, is incredibly durable. So both these guys can die. It's a don't overthink it. I would have personally preferred fight ends in round 1 or 2. You get the extra 2.5 minutes because this could extend. The KO could come at any point. Uros has round 3 KOs, late round 2 KOs, same as Muslim. But I don't have that. Like that, the ends round 1 and 2 is extremely, extremely juicy. So I've got $680, a little bit over a unit to win 500 on the under. So hopefully the doctor kills him, because I'm Serb, but don't really care, man. Someone die. Muslim has some finishing some value as an underdog. But if you're playing anyone, I'll just play any of these guys by KO, in my opinion. Just whatever. And if he loses, he loses, but spice it up a bit. Alrighty, match now versus Joseph Morales. Right. So I mentioned I parlayed someone with Hokit. That's Joseph Morales. I would have laid his money line, but I didn't want to lay the money line after people parlayed it and he got steamed because he still can be taken down. He still loses position. And if Matt Schnell can potentially get out of a few, takedown attempts, survive a few submission attempts, he could look a bit value on the feet, against Joseph Morales. But ultimately, it's Matt Schnell, one of the worst guys in the division. He never should have been ranked. Worst durability. I think Morales can drop him and hurt him, KO him. He's got underrated punching power. He can obviously submit him. Matt Schnell submitted a bunch of times. Jimmy Flick, went life and death with Jimmy Flick. A retiring Jimmy Flick that was already quitter. He was already a quitter before the retirement rumors. So, yeah, it's Joseph Morales, like 1 unit with Hokit. And then I also have Joseph Morales +1 takedown on Neds, which is pick him. Almost pick him. So I put 350 to win like 300. So usually I have to play round 1, Joseph Morales round 1 to get that big odds. But Joseph Morales, any takedown in any round plus money line almost gives me pick him. Close to plus money, so just a half unit on that. So, if Hokit wins, I'm just waiting for Morales for a parlay piece and a 1 takedown. But honestly, the under 1.5 rounds plus money, the only reason I haven't locked that in yet is because Morales has a couple of late round 2 finishes. He can play with his food. As I said, even when he gets the back, he can still lose the submission. But he gets the back and a takedown in round 1 in a lot of these fights. On Ultimate Fighter, he got it twice. He got Chapo, Henrique out of there, and he almost got Emmanuel Rodriguez out of there. So, and then late round, and he almost got the guy on the Kazakhstani guy in round 1 as well. So, yeah, if you play the under 1.5, that could probably hit 2. But I might get on some Joseph Morales round 1, round 2. Like, there's many ways to tackle this. All right, and Gabriel Bonfin versus Randy Brown. Honestly, not much tape done on this. I did Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikhov, obviously, and just recently watched the Brown Battle fight. And Bonfim, I know very, very well. I've been smashing his props and submission props, etc. But yeah, more tape needs to be done. Essentially, I don't really like Bonfim at this price. I think Randy Brown is a potentially more challenging opponent than Stephen Wonderboy. He's less washed, he's less old. If you take Randy Brown down, I don't think it's a death sentence like it is for Wonderboy. And Randy, he's athletic, he's huge, he can match the size. And I think he can go 5 rounds. He's got great cardio. So from a money line perspective, Randy Brown will pass, as much as I don't like Randy Brown. If I was going to play anything with Bonfim, I would just play the under 2.5 because I feel like he has all the, takedown and insta-sub / knockdown potential. So, but I'm not, after like a brief wiki cap and tape, I'm not really rushing to lock that in because I feel like it correlates. And both these guys could be patient, and essentially if Bonfim takes him down, he could survive. So I'll leave it. It's a 5-rounder for both these guys. I think pretty sure first 5-rounder in the UFC for both as well. So we could have a very patient fight, 2 patient fighters. So dog or pass, and the under potentially. Maybe Gabriel Bonfim sub. We'll see. All right. So that's 6 bets for you. Right, and nothing is forced. I literally didn't force anything. They all feel like winners. So don't complain. Don't complain about me sitting on the fence, right? Otherwise, I'll find you and I'll beat your ass. All right. Jackson, McVey, Zachary, Reese, under 1.5 rounds, 1 unit, -200. Don't overthink it. Someone's dying. Mars, John, Marcos. I think this is a dog or pass, but might lie better. Pennington, Gomes. I'm not going to say dog or pass. I think Pennington's just a little bit old, and her path is a slim margins, but I have 1 unit on Gomes KO, no scorecards. 600 to win, almost 400. Josh Hokit, Gimenis, I got over half a round, 600 to win 500. And I got Hokit in a parlay with Morales. Bueno, Silva, I don't mind having no scorecards. Decision, no bet, $1.80. Simone Barcelos, I'm not interested in this fight. Potentially the under. Hyder, Amil, Jamall, Emmers, meant to play some round 1 KO. Tulio, Duncan. I'm really close on Duncan as an underdog. Maybe I'll play his handicap. What's his handicap? Bet 365. Let me just have a look, lads. All right. Bonfin, Padilla, dog or pass, easy. Muslim, Salikhov, Uros, Medic. I have a little bit over a unit on the under 1.5 rounds. Match Schnell, I have Morales closing out the parlay with Hokit, 600 to win 300 and something. And I have 300 on Morales, +1 takedown at almost plus money. The reason I only have half a unit is because Morales can potentially hurt Schnell, jump on top. He's also pull guard a bunch. And yeah, so just in case he does something silly and wins by finish, I don't want to be losing a big bag on that. And Bonfin, Brown, dog or pass. So yeah, 6 bets for everyone. There might be more, but because I have so much locked in, I'm not going to force. I'm going to move on to the regionals and come back. So thank you for listening. Good luck. I think if you tail most of those, you'll be safe this week. So you're welcome. Like and subscribe. Peace out.